How do you see the development of e-commerce right now? Because we are going through extraordinary times.
You see innovations happening 10 times faster than everything I ever experienced before.
In many of the conversations, you typically have Temu or Shein pop up at some point in the time. So I'm also curious what your thoughts are, because in some way or the other, your merchants might also be challenged by these platforms.
Your main mission should be that you stick in the mind of your customers, that they can remember you and they think about you also for specific emotions, as we just talked about it, and can say, look, this is my favorite brand.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the EGN Podcast. I'm your host, Effe Fontaine. Today we're thrilled to have a guest who truly needs no introduction, Sebastian Hamann, the founder and co-CEO of Shopware. Since its inception in 2000, Shopware has grown from a small startup into a global leader in digital commerce. Sebastian has been at the forefront of this journey, connecting with sellers and understanding their real-life challenges. This close relationship with the e-commerce community makes him a go-to source for insights into the future of digital commerce. Today, we'll not only explore Shopware's journey to becoming one of the market leaders, but also discuss the latest trends and innovations happening in the industry landscape. Let's go. Sebastian, very nice to have you as part of our show, all the way to Berlin. Thank you so much. So after many years of seeing each other from time to time, talking about the development of the e-commerce market in Germany and wider Europe, now I have finally the chance to interview you in our podcast. So welcome. And I guess you're one of those people that don't need an introduction, but we'll do it anyway, because there might be someone that doesn't know you yet. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks for having me. My name is Sebastian Hamann. I'm a co-founder and CEO of Shopware. I founded Shopware 24 years ago in the age as a teenager, together with my lovely brother. And
Stefan,
that's correct, yes. He's 1.5 years older than me, right? We're both very different. I'm more the creative guy, and my brother is the technical guy. But we both are product founders, and I think this is quite unique in our space as brothers. And so we, built a Shopware. Shopware is a digital commerce platform solution, purpose-built for the mid-market, for sophisticated B2C and B2B projects. And we have with Shopware 50,000 stores running, creating globally, yes. Yeah. Generating over 22 billion GMV. Mm-hmm. And have a huge ecosystem at Shopware. Yeah. That's Shopware.
How do you define the mid-market? Can we imagine after 20 million euro revenue, or for those of us that don't know where mid-market starts and ends?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because I also experience, right, wherever you are heading to and go to, kind of geography, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
So how we split the market is the mid-market merchant starts from 5 million GMV up to 100 million GMV range in Europe. But if we look at the US market, for example, not only, the shampoo bottles are a little bit bigger, also the amount of revenue and turnover is there more. And therefore, we go up to 250 million GMV for the mid-market. What is to say about the mid-market? I think the mid-market is, or felt at least a little bit forgotten in the digital commerce space. So if you look overall at the market environment, and I see and think mainly big tech is, focusing more and more on small business and on large enterprise business, and try at least to force companies a little bit in these camps.
Yeah.
But especially in my point of view, it's the mid-market, or in Germany, we would call it Mittelstand, right?
Yeah.
What makes digital commerce great, it was also where always innovation happens.
Yeah.
And we saw there is a gap in this field, right? So we saw like players, you can say Magento, if someone knows Magento out there, were acquired by Adobe and is going more and more into the large enterprise field. What makes for them sense, but also at the same time leaving a gap in this whole area and field. And especially in the mid-market field, you need to have more flexibility, customization as you start increasing and growing at this time. But probably you don't have the budget for a large enterprise solution, right? But you have the requests and the demand for the features of the large enterprise solutions. And this is there where it all ties together and where Shopware, in my point of view, perfectly fits in and addresses this market and support and help merchants grow at their journey.
Yeah, thanks a lot for that. I think it helps many people, especially that are not familiar with the e-commerce landscape, to understand how the players address the customer. As a matter of fact, in our podcast, we had several guests from the merchant side that use Shopware. So every time, out of curiosity, I ask them, "Hey, which solution do you use?" And so Shopware came up, I think 2-3 times. So it was interesting.
Happy to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are pretty much the predominant solution from like the German local solution for the e-commerce mid-market, right? So maybe you can also tell us a little bit about the competitive landscape. Who are your competitors?
Yes, I can. I mean, look, if you take the bird eye perspective and look on the digital commerce landscape, I think in general you can see and say digital commerce solution is a little bit crowded, right? You can find a lot of solutions out there. Some of them are more B2B focused only. Some of them are more, tailored to consumer needs or consumer businesses. And therefore, if you look, for example, we see Shopify, addressing the complete landscape coming from the small business area.
Yeah.
Then also going into mid-market, but also into large enterprise, everything at the same time, you can say it this way. Then we see Magento, Adobe Commerce, Magento acquired by Adobe Commerce, now going more and more into large enterprise business. We have the Salesforce, we have SAP, for example, SAP Commerce, addressing the large enterprise business. Yeah, back then it acquired... You're correct. Hybris, or its Salesforce was Demandware back then. That's correct. And in the US, for example, you have also players like BigCommerce, right? Yeah. So, and if you split there, I think there's you see the movement from some other players going into also mid-market a bit. But I think the really strength and value proposition of Shopware is that we are purpose-built for the mid-market, right?
Focused.
Yeah, absolutely focused on to bring the highest flexibility and customizability into this field with B2C and B2B capabilities at the same time for one technology. And I'm talking about more sophisticated projects where you can use these capabilities and scale further. But always keep in mind with one technology, and you can have a blended business model here. Yeah. This sets us apart, especially if you compare us with the other competitors or competitive landscape. And also, our customers values this proposition very well. Yeah. Especially if it comes down to the total cost of ownership calculation, where you then also can figure out that it makes for many cases and projects more sense to run on a Shopware solution, for example, in this case, while, going to a large corporate or let's say large enterprise organization at this stage.
What I find interesting, thank you so much, by the way, for the invitation to the Shopware Community Day. I planned to come there and everything was set up. I had a last minute hiccup, so I couldn't be there, but I did watch your keynote and found it very inspirational. So I think we will touch upon some of the things that you've mentioned also there. Maybe I ask you, how do you see the e-commerce market as is today? Because you've been, as you said, you've been around in this business for 24 years, if I'm not mistaken, you mentioned. So I guess you and Stefan were around 16, 18 years old when you guys started. So how do you see the development of e-commerce right now? Because we are going through extraordinary times where efficiency is the word in everybody's mouth, and everyone is talking about new ways of getting efficient, and like consumer behavior is stagnating. When you look at the consumer barometer from HDE, like we see a slow recovery in comparison to before Corona levels. So how do you see the market?
Well, what you're talking about is the, challenging macroeconomic situation everyone is currently facing, right?
Yeah.
For sure, we see it also in the shopware universe and in general in digital commerce space. You see, shrunken margins overall, as you stated. We see probably less consumptions, a little bit depending on which kind of vertical,
Yes.
right? Also, some other verticals are also growing. Yes, and then you have the situation, increasing cost of everything, you can say. Cost of energy, cost of talent, everything at the same time. While efficiency is so important, and also especially for the mid-market is efficiency very important. Also, Shopware, highly is offering capabilities to make you more efficient in this way. Yeah. On the other side, you see it's hard to differentiate. And I think this is especially what you can see in the market field is the consolidation of more players. Yeah. It was also here fully crowded, and some would call it a red ocean. I don't know if you know the blue and red ocean strategy. This is a really good book I can recommend. However, this is then where you can see there are nearly the same products out there, the same business models out there. You fall into this price and delivery trap, and it's really hard to differentiate and to find your cutting edge and your unique pro position. But this is super, super important, and there are ways to find. But these are two things that are affecting the market right now. And I think what is super important to do is to understand the behavior of the customer right now, right? By knowing what your customer needs and also to adapt to the consumer and customer behavior, you have the opportunity to build something new upon of it and differentiate in the market. And if you ask me, I would say there are, now coming a lot of new great things out there and a lot of new potential, why it is now the best time to differentiate and to start differentiating with all the things we recently see with trends that are affecting the market.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about the rise of new technologies like artificial intelligence, but also spatial computing, what probably not everyone has in mind, right? Yeah. But it's now getting more and more commodity as Apple Vision Pro were released, or Meta Quest 3, or these glasses. I'm talking about sophisticated 3D technology, immersive experiences that are more and more coming along our path in the next couple of years. Yeah. And if you combine it together, I'm pretty sure the market would getting reshuffled. These technologies are super, super, super strong. And if you look back, and I'm looking back now to 24 years of digital commerce history, so I can tell you, as I started with the age, by the way, I was 15 years old. As I
15
years old, yeah. It was mainly, it was 2000, and it was the year of the, setting the digital foundations, bringing more catalog data online. It was really basic stuff, to be honest, right? And also, very early days, in my point of view, as I were with the market in digital commerce space and shop system technologies. And you saw the rise of, Amazon, eBay, these kind of marketplaces at this time. But it was mainly about bringing products and catalog data to the internet and just sell it. Then we saw in 2010 the rise of the era of social media and the breakthrough in mobile shopping. Yeah. If you remember
responsive design,
I'm pretty sure if you remember back, 2010 or so, I think people were very reservated and, not really into, people will buy online shop or will do online shopping with mobile devices. But it was a breakthrough, and it was pretty clear that this is the way where it would go. And this kind of what we saw back then is also currently happening with artificial intelligence and with spatial computing. We are in this new era and things that are now going to revolutionize digital commerce landscape. Yeah. Why do I say that? Because if you think about what artificial intelligence, for example, currently is doing, I mean, you see innovations happening 10 times faster than everything I ever experienced before. I never experienced like so many innovations, so many breakthroughs nearly, every month. Since we talk about these artificial intelligence is getting more and more commodity, and ChatGPT were released, and you know what I'm talking about, right? Think about it, that it is 10 times faster. It means that while it took once 10 years to have a really strong innovation, it nowadays took you 12 months.
Yeah. We've entered a period of exponential growth with AI.
Absolutely. And it is getting, commodity. So I believe that the future of digital commerce is heading, or is going to two main buckets. And this is first an assistant-led or agent-led digital commerce, and second, an experience-led commerce. I'm pretty sure every one of us will have in the near future a kind of personal assistant who understands you, your behavior, what you're currently doing, what is important for you, what are your circumstances, where are you, living, and all this kind of stuff, all this personal information.
Not just in general, but in that particular journey or situation, probably, right?
Exactly. In the situation and journey where you are with your, let's say, you are mid of 30 and you are have now a family with kids. Now you have a different behavior and different things are important for you, while you are, I don't know, early 20 years old, or you know what I mean. He really goes to understand you and can.
I can confirm this.
Yeah, and it will. Yeah, me too. With 4 kids at home. I think we know what we're talking about. It's different, right, from times, but
totally different.
And the assistant understands you and can offer you really personalized what is important for you, and can automate rational purchase decisions where you simply don't want to spend all your time on, and make it more easier. And on the other hand, while everything getting more and more automated by machines, experience getting more and more important in digital commerce.
Yes.
I think it's one of the most important things we will see in the next future, because we are all humans, and humans want to have, engaging emotional experiences, and especially these ones stick in the mind of the customers. And if you are, and I'm pretty sure everyone who's also currently listening knows that, I think experiences that have an emotional connection, for example, with storytelling, or where you remember, you have some kind of, it touches you because it activates emotions with you.
You remember,
and it's so strong for you, stronger since so much else and anything else, and this will become the key factor in digital commerce next to the automation, to the assistant-led commerce thing. So what I see is, why not you are able to be part of a story where you can, discover and deep dive into it, or part of like a cinema movie where you are inside a cinema movie and can play with it and explore, discover the story, get some kind of gamification elements, insights, like you are doing with a computer game. And then you get some achievements, something like, getting a highly entertaining and more emotional connection also with other people in the digital commerce space.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this is the way where we're going to.
So you mentioned two tracks, assistant-led and also experience-led, right? So I'm almost sure that you've experimented with the Apple Vision Pro. And on the other hand, you are probably closely monitoring like Apple Intelligence and how we will, even bigger corporations are like, it's all about personalization of your journey, which doesn't exist anywhere else in that form. And I think this will be, as you said, this will be a major breakthrough. And for us, I think it's we like to turn things into a tangible way, like for people listening, trying to be successful in e-commerce, especially on the merchant side. From what I have followed, you've already launched around 11 AI features among your feature set. And also, I guess you're concretely thinking about providing spatial immersive commerce features on the platform, right?
Yeah, exactly. So to wrap it a little bit up, I would say it's, if you look at it, it is digital commerce in the future where you first, to make it very simple, save time, and second, where you spend your time.
Yeah.
Very easy if you think about these two buckets, right? And yes, we released in Shopware 12 AI features right now.
There's one more that I missed.
Yeah, one more, probably, sounds like. We showed at the Shopware Community Day in my keynote speech, yes. So, and these AI features are mainly connected to make you more efficient, like in the product and the administration.
Yeah.
You have features like, export your data files from the shop system by writing prompt, for example, just, export all B2B customers with this and this price segment and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And then you get an export file, just as one example. Or at the customer experience front, where you can have a front-end search where you can enter your prompts, like native prompt search, or you can upload an image and the image get crawled and get all the informations crawled, and then you can also address it and show products, for example. Yeah. These are all things we are already have integrated in Shopware on the AI front, and we're currently working on a shopper profile, an anonymous shopper profile, where we then have all the data and can give you more predictions, right? Yeah. Looking forward and moving forward with all the behavior and patterns we can see as a system. Then we can crawl the data and give you, for example, predictions about checkout experiences.
Utilizing the entire Shopware platform.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So all the shopper behavior, all the transactions, everything that is flowing around.
That's fantastic.
And then using this data, but anonymous, right, as a shopper profile, but figuring out and matching it to your behavior and things you using as a merchant and which kind of vertical you are positioned, and give you some predictions and recommendations what could make sense for you in your specific category. Yeah. This is what we are currently working on next to these already released AI features. On the other hand, we already integrated spatial technology features in Shopware. We see ourselves as a spatial native platform very early. So we, supporting...
What does that mean exactly?
Yeah, so it means that natively the digital commerce platform supports features and also is readable and can read and is connected to the spatial community and open source framework you can find out there. So GLB files, for example, you can upload inside the product, and then natively it is already integrated in the administration. We have a scene editor where you can then have a look into the 3D models, for example, in the administration of Shopware. You can make pictures out of it and generate renderings out of it to have pictures for the customer in the front end more viable, more valuable. And you can scale it, right, in this way. Why not you having to have a photo studio and all this setup and all these costs?
Saves immense costs, right?
Absolutely, you save immense cost in this time. And it's natively integrated in Shopware. And also, if you have then the 3D files in your Shopware commerce system, it also natively is visible for the customer in the front end. He can also look around it in 3D, around the product. We have natively integrated AR functions where you can then project for example, the product, like a coffee machine. I had it in my keynote speech, but also other things are for sure. I mean, you need to have this 3D model, and then you can project it there, and it still works. And it's these kind of try-ons where you can experiment with it to reduce the returns, and in the end to reduce the cost of it. And it's already integrated and plug and play usage. And it goes even further. We just recently showed at the Shopware Community Day a new feature called Immersive Elements. Mm-hmm. This is an element what you can just drag and drop into the Shopware experience builder. It's our content management in-house, built-in content management functionality in the shop system. And with this immersive elements, you can also embed directly 3D files inside the content management journey. Very easy. You don't need a developer or something or an agency to do it. And then you can mark, for example, while scrolling, specific things inside the 3D model. So if you scroll down, for example, you get to a specific point where you would like to highlight some details, and you mark it, give some information more about it, or you can also add sound to the stage, and you make the whole feeling so much more emotional and outstanding.
Yeah.
And it's very
It's an
important
experience then.
and very important for the brand experience, right? To stick in the mind. And what is also cool, you can directly export it. It's supported for MetaQuest 3 and for Apple Vision Pro, so it just works, right? And also, then what I just stated as the spatial native platform, if you have these, these files uploaded inside the Shopware product, the Shopware administration, the 3D files, it automatically works also with the Apple Vision Pro.
Yeah.
We just, tested it. So you can just grab, if you have the Apple Vision Pro on it, you can just grab with your hand the products out of the web shop, take it, see it in front of you, scale it, place it.
Yeah.
This is what I mean by, natively supportive.
It's insane. I mean, like, the fact that exists now and that you can do it today is super cool. What I'm curious about is two things. First, what's the adoption of rate among your merchants for the features that you've created? Do you see, like, you've talked about 12 AI features and like immersive commerce features and everything. For me, many of those, like, especially when we're talking about Apple Vision Pro, not even in Germany, like, it's not even being sold here, It's like, it's kind of like something that will come a bit farther in the future. When do you expect mass market adoption for these use cases? So you're kind of building for the future.
Absolutely, that's great.
I'm curious when you see the breakthrough, like tipping point, and also what's the current adoption of the AI features?
Yeah, so let's bring it into a sequence, right? So first of all, I would emphasize that people and merchants are now think about, as I just try to describe what in the future will come to us, how it will change their business model, how it will affect their business model if they think about also their customer and consumer behavior, right? So we recently see the first adoptions of the product. So we have the first customers live, also with our spatial experiences. I'm really happy about it. Also,
are they in Germany or in the US?
In Germany and the US also. One of them, it's YT Industries, is also currently experimenting and will go live soon with it. YT Industries is a bike manufacturer for mountain bikes, and also very popular and large in the US market.
Okay.
Yeah, but also in Germany we have some of them where you can, for example, configure, let's say in the B2B context, machines, right? Where you configure some machines, you can see from every angle and perspective what you're currently configuring, and then re-rendering about it.
Yeah.
How it looks like. This is also a strong value for B2B merchants or for the B2B use case. So the adoption is currently ongoing, also in spatial things, on AI front as well. I mean, it's just available, right? Especially if you run on our cloud product on a SaaS version, it's just simply there in your administration and you can use it. I know, especially what is mostly adopted are more the small things that make an impact right now. Like, the summary of all ratings you have in your store. For example, have a conclusion, to more automated or more personalized checkout messages. Yeah. These are the small tweaks and things you can use, and our customers love to use. But I'm pretty sure the more data we have, that especially the predictive part I just stated will become more and more important in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. But then again, so you have some customers utilizing the spatial features, but then again, when do you see the mass market adoption for these?
Yeah, I think it will take some years from now, and we, let's say 2 to 3 years when it will come. And we see us as more as an incubator for these technologies. We have a huge ecosystem with more than 1,600 partners, hundreds of thousands of developers because of the open source frameworks are can run and use Shopware technologies.
The community edition.
For example, the community edition or developer sandbox, where that you can just, hack and play, plug and play on it. And we see that they can use the Shopware platform with these spatial native features, AI native features, and build on top of that these applications.
Yeah.
For example, what I just stated, this immersive elements, is also coming out of the ecosystem, right? It was already a partner, the developers who built it in the Shopware product as an app.
Yeah.
So this is really cool. And I think this will accelerate now over time and find their path. So I think, and this is also my experience back then as I founded Shopware and we were going open source. And I really like the space because, you have so many people in so many different verticals experimenting with your toolings, with your things. And I think not a single vendor alone can innovate and can find every use case of it. I think it's the community, it's the ecosystem with their perspective who solves problems and issues for their specific customers and needs, and use your technology for it. And I think
they don't have to reinvent the wheel.
No, they don't have to reinvent the wheel, but they can build upon, right? And build something specific, more tailor-made, and even faster.
Yeah.
Because simply they have the toolbox, the sandbox, just to do so, right? They don't have to reinvent the wheel, but they can take it and customize it in a way as their specific use case and customer needed.
Yeah.
And this is what happened already, and I think this will happen even faster in the next upcoming years.
Yeah. It's been quite some time now. I think it was several months ago that you got the Gartner Magic Quadrant award as the challenger, if I'm not visionary. Visionary. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about that, and because as far as I've understood from Winfried in our conversations, it's all also a long process, lots of things being analyzed, and so tell us a little bit about what makes you the visionary in comparison to all these other players.
Yeah, thank you. And look, we feel highly honored about it. And I think it's also very important because we also right now in the US market and making there our field and are growing there.
Yeah.
So a visionary in the Gartner Magic Quadrant is especially valued because of our sophisticated B2B capabilities. And we have a feature that is called Digital Sales Room, where you what is already used for the Wortmann Group. It's a customer of us. Wortmann Group is a very large shoe retailer, very well known for brands like Tamaris, for example, or Marco Tozzi shoes. And with Digital Sales Room, you can easily co-browse and navigate in an assistant buying journey through the web shop. So just to give you an example, right? Let's say before Digital Sales Room, and you are a B2B customer or merchant or wholesaler, you would then, send your sales agent via car with a trunk full of sample products. In this case, for example, it would be shoes for the sample customer, and they would drive with the car to the retail store, would show them the new products, right, and have these, the sales agent would then, have all explaining and selling them these new items and products there, right? That's how it usually very often works in the B2B field.
Yeah.
Nowadays, with Digital Sales Room, you just can send a link, right, via email or via WhatsApp or whatever, and you just click on the link, or you have an appointment, and then you click on the link, and you directly connect it with your sales agent digitally, and you don't have to have an installed app like Teams or Zoom or something. It directly works in the web shop, and you'll see a video camera right now. So, and the cool thing is, the sales agent can navigate you and co-browse you through the shop. They can take over the control, navigate you, can present you the products in a digital way, and it's saving the time. And at the same time, while he's showing you the products and presenting, he sees all the data about you, and he can also see what you are currently looking in the web shop, what you're doing there, and he can take you to the product he's currently explaining, or popping you up new product,
kind of like a shop assistant in on premise,
Yes, you're right. On site, like you could do on site, and it's also very emotional because he sees you. You can speak natively to each other, right? And this is very well received from Gartner, and this is also one of the reasons why Gartner honored us as a visionary in the Magic Quadrant. Yeah, because of this innovation that is also currently working. And there's so much more potential. And also Gartner thinks that this digital sales room solution will have a high adoption in the next couple of years because it makes it so much easier. And we at Shopware sees it as a really good milestone, but not the only milestone. We see it as a connected B2B commerce experience overall, where you have all the different kind of data points, right? Like the digital sales room experience I just explained, but also the on-site meetings, or also the B2B flagship store experience in a retail business that still exists and very common also, or the self-service portal like the classical B2B web shop where you go on a desktop, for example, in your office and make your orders, but you have all the data points that you have a unified and a seamless experience, but also the data about your sales agents and the behavior of your B2B customers, so that you then can make the best out of it in this way.
You've talked a lot about B2B and B2C markets, and if I recall correctly, you've reported a growth in the B2B sector, much more growth than B2C. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And I'm also curious how the allocation, you talked about 55,000 merchants, how many of those do B2B, how many of those do B2C, or both maybe? And then how do you see the B2B market growing?
Yeah, thank you. So interesting data points, especially in the Shopware customer base, is over 60% of our commercial customers are already using B2B capabilities. I see a strong trend in the mid-market field where you have B2C and B2B capabilities as a blended business model, right? So both. I see the trend coming from B2C companies who are thinking about to add B2B capabilities and business models are now starting their journey already.
Yeah.
Or the other way around, we see B2B companies starting a new startup or a new brand dedicated, but then also wanted to start with a consumer approach as a direct brand or as a B2C business model.
Yeah.
So, and to do so, you need to have both. And people are requesting it also to us, like, look, what are your consumer and what are your B2B capabilities? And I think it's very important to understand that it's not simply putting B2C capabilities into B2B or the other way around, because you need to understand the B2B market, the needs and behaviors, so that you can connect and use what works good in the consumer space wisely and adapt it into the B2B field. Right, as I just described with digital sales room, for example, or with our new tool, Sales Agent. It's the same thing. So I think this is very important, and this is what I definitely can say and can see, that it is becoming more and more important that you have this flexibility to do both with one technology, especially in the mid-market field.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, especially spin-offs of certain companies that address the B2C sector. Let's say they don't need to completely discover a new tool or a new platform, and they can just work with something they already know, just address a different target group. One thing that I want to go back to from the beginning of the conversation is that you also mentioned, as we talked about the stagnating e-commerce market, or let's say in correct terms, perhaps like slow recovery of the e-commerce market in Germany especially, there are still verticals that perform really well. Maybe you can mention a couple of those for our listeners that might be also interesting. Off the top of your head.
I recently know, because of let's say of the EM, right, that some kind of verticals in the consumer and electronic space are doing well.
Yeah.
Because people are just buying stuff like projectors or something like that for your home cinema experience in this way. No, look, I think what is really good growing and working is the B2B field overall.
Yes.
I can see the interest is there. This is growing. This is adapting. On the consumer field, I think I need to have a closer look into the breakdown, but I think the fashion was going more a little bit down. I think food is just also coming back a little bit more right now. Everything that is also connected to home and garden and to luxury products is mostly doing good.
Yeah.
right? Long life products, as is also a consumer trend, to have more, long life products. In a way, I have to say, because people are price sensitive, and we know it from Temu and so on, right? We have also the opposite, in a way. But I think these kind of long life and luxury products are mainly doing well.
In many of the conversations, you typically have Temu or Shein pop up at some point in the time. So I'm also curious what your thoughts are, because in some way or the other, your merchants might also be challenged by these platforms.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a fair point, and this is where all comes back, where I just would like to emphasize every merchant to think about what is the differentiation, what is the USP, and this is also so important that you start to becoming a brand, right? Because in a world where everything is getting into marketplaces or into Temu or TikTok, don't get me wrong, it could be a good thing and a growth boost for you, but I think your main mission should be that you stick in the mind of your customers, that they can remember you, and they think about you also for specific emotions, as we just talked about it, and can say, look, this is my favorite brand, this is my brand, let's say Koro, for example, for the food sector, and I believe in it, and I like it, and it comes back to me. So it is a challenging situation, as it is, this kind of red ocean thing where we just described. But at the same time,
I think we're going to have to put that book in our show notes.
But at the same time, think about further, and with all the things that are coming up, and don't see it as a, to negative influence in the market. See it as an opportunity that you now have the chance to also start something, or to have a new breakthrough and start recreating things, rethinking things, to address the customer needs and be very close to your customer. I think this is super important, that you can adapt really fast and iterate in small iterations, but very fast. Be fast in this point.
Yeah. I mean, two things strike out, in my opinion, about very specifically about Temu and Shein, and in many ways they're also very different from each other. But the very strong personalization that is utilized, and also the factory to customer model. So that this is also not something that many German merchants can quickly adapt. That they can have warehouses and merchants like factories. Directly deporting, like sending products from China. And the bigger question is this really something that you made the point about brands, because the brands also stand apart from all this because they stand up for something. They have brand values. They have certain things that they push. It's just, most importantly, understanding the consumer and giving them a similar personalized experience, I think will be quite important. Maybe you see it differently.
No, that's exactly what I mean, right? And I think everyone is aiming for the attention of the shopper, of the consumer in this case, if we talk about B2C business right now, and we are with, Temu and so on. And I think this is, and also, if you think about it, also Temu or the other apps, TikTok, are, focusing on getting most of your time and the attention as a shopper. And this is also kind of their business model. So in this world, you need to find a way to understand your customer and have some new, or at least get the attention, be important, be there where they need you, right? And stick in the mind. Again, I repeat, but I think that's really important to always be very close, and just also asking your customers, ask them, what do you think about it? Why do you spend your time there? What are you searching for? How can I help you? And then I'm pretty sure we will see more and more in this direction, to becoming a brand, building a story, having value-added services, user-generated content, building up a community. These are all things that makes you really strong and set you apart. And then you are not like in this trap of price and delivery. And I think, as you just stated, factory to consumer, you can't compete it with this. But I think you can have a value proposition where you have a fork, where you have a community that is really engaging and love your brand and stands behind you.
Yeah.
So I think there are opportunities also with new technologies coming up as the market is evolving.
One of the examples that I've recently given is this e-commerce shop, Schuster. I think they're your customers, if I'm not. No, actually, they're Oxid customers, but they won the Shop Usability Award this year. And one thing that strikes me is that these experiences that shops offer, like let's say that you mentioned community, right? So communities that offer like shops that offer a community, help a community just experience something like after work skiing events, something like that, you know what I mean? So you have an experience around a product or a set of products, collections. I think that that's also in my opinion that's also a success factor.
Absolutely.
You know,
To find. So we have, for example, customers like 11 Team Sports, very well known in the for products in the soccer world, and they have also an app, for example, where you can manage local football clubs.
yeah,
Right. It's a value-added service you can use, but you are there where the customer are using it and
absolutely.
where they need you. Or Miss Pompadour is also a very good example.
Yeah.
They are also very engaged with their community, have a world of inspiration where people are uploading what they currently build. So Miss Pompadour is a company for paintings. They at least sell products for paintings,
Yeah.
but they created a whole world out of it and
Yeah.
a whole community out of it where people are engaged. They have gamification approaches with Miss Pomp Coins, so is it called. And this is how you have two examples, or also in the B2B field, for example. We have a customer, Fee Academy. It's for makeup, for the makeup industry, for example, a very, very large organization and company, very well known. And what they are doing is also they have built up an academy where you then have over 60,000 certified artists, right? And also here you have a community built up, a whole ecosystem built up for this space in this B2B field, right? For the makeup and so on. So I think there are paths and ways how you can engage with the community and how you can set you apart, how you can stick in the mind, where you can be really unique. I think it's not an easy undertaking to figure out and to do so, but there are definitely paths. And I'm more on the positive side where I can say, look, despite Temu, TikTok, and all these kind of things, I'm pretty sure we will come and evolve further and come to the more engaging and I'm really eager and excited about what will come next in the digital commerce space.
Sebastian, for the next 2 minutes, I will be your personal genie. I can make any of your wishes come true. And you have 3 wishes as a founder and a CEO of one of the biggest e-commerce platforms in the world. So,
you can make them really true.
That's I'll try. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. That's an interesting question, to be honest. Now, speaking for something that is especially in the German economy, I think difficult. I would like to have a more engaged and more in an environment built up where people are willed to do more bold decisions, more bold moves, and try to innovate and to become further, while not just thinking about the status quo and falling into a more negative mood, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
I think it's really important to build up a community, at least also in the German economy, where people are, showing and more positive, moving forward, innovate, show paths, how it could also be done. Because sometimes I have the feeling this is missing here in our German.
You can compare that to the US market, I believe.
Yeah, and this is different, to be honest. As I were, there, people are more, this is also a little bit like cultural patterns thing, I would say, but they are more in the positive mindset.
You attended the Shop Talk recently.
The Shop Talk, for example, or e-tail events, or some of these events. And it's a different mood and pattern, at least what I experienced compared to the German one.
Okay. Yeah. Second wish?
Second wish. Oh, okay. Would be nice if my kids would be a a little bit more silent. They're extremely loud every morning, and I recently have the challenge. I can't find a meal where I have 4 kids, and it's a nightmare to find a meal what everyone would like to eat.
Oh yeah.
So it's always a trade-off and costs a lot of energy. So if you can make it really more easy, that
I found one. My vegan risotto is always like the best choice for my kids. It's like vegan
do you have a good story for it? Because I think if I would call it a vegan risotto, I don't know if my kids would like it, but I need to.
It has chickpeas and mushrooms. I don't know. For some reason, also the friends of my kids, they always love it.
Okay, I would take it.
I
need a creative name and story for the kids. Like, look, this is the white shiny mountain to eat. I don't know.
Yeah,
Something
I mean, you said you're the creative guy, so I'm sure you'll figure it out, and I'll try to help you. Yeah, and then third but last but not least. Can be anything.
Can be anything? Okay. I would like to have a cappuccino right now, and I'm fine.
Perfect. Sebastian, it's been a great conversation. Thanks for being with us in our new studio, still pretty much new. And I feel privileged to have had this conversation with you, especially given that you have a long history seeing all kinds of innovations and developments over the last 24 years. And now I'm super excited to see what's going to happen in the next 2-3 years, because as you mentioned, we have entered a period of fast-paced growth with all kinds of developments. So I hope we will repeat this conversation in some time and see where we were right and which predictions could be adjusted. Thank you so much for being part of the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of the EGN Podcast. If you found our discussion insightful, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channels on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Your support helps us grow and improve our content. See you next time.